So this is lesson 4. And the new word of the day is baby. Akachan. And that's because my wife and I had a baby last week. Okay, so I'll probably trim this down later so it's not so long-winded. Okay, thank you very much, Kay, for your feedback on that. Still getting settled back with this streaming. All right, so Akachan, Akachan. Now, here's the quiz for you. Have you been following along with lessons 1 through 3? Do you remember how to say, this is my, and I taught you son or daughter before, but this is my son. This is my son. Do you remember how to say that? Okay, if it's close to you or if it's on your phone, you're going to point at your phone, right? This is my son. Kore wa watashi no musuko. This is my son. Or since you now know the word for baby, we can just substitute the word baby. Kore wa watashi no akachan. Hopefully you got that. And how would we make that polite if we wanted to make it a polite sentence? We would just add des. Exactly. Hopefully you got that. Kore wa watashi no akachan desu. And that's all there is to it. Alrighty, moving on. Well, since you all are saying that he's cute, I guess that means you can see the slides. So, alrighty. So let's quickly review the question words we've learned so far. So everybody today is on the same page. All right. So from the top down, we have where. The word for where was doko, right? Doko. So if you're asking where is something, this is where. Blank wa doko. Blank wa doko. Now that's a casual expression, remember? Because we didn't have any des, we didn't have any politeness in there. So if you were saying, where is Sasebo Station? Sasebo eki wa doko? Sasebo eki wa doko? All right. And if we wanted, let's see. Oh, we're going to do the polite ones next. Okay. Now, who is this? Or this is who, right? Who is this? The word for who was dare, right? Blank wa dare. Blank wa dare. Again, if you're looking at somebody's phone and they're showing you a picture, now let's just say their picture is close to them, not close to you. So it's not kore, it's going to be sore, right? Sore. And you want to say, who is that? Sore wa dare? Sore wa dare? Right? That's if somebody's holding something like in their hand, like a picture of something, usually on the smartphone. And then last but not least, we had the question word for what. The question word for what, do you remember it? Nani, right? Nani. And this is, once again, the expression I want you to wear out in Japanese and be a toddler. Sound exactly like a 2 or 3-year-old. Kore wa nani? Kore wa nani? What is this, right? So the first time you see something and you want to know how it's called in Japanese, hopefully someone will follow along with you. Kore wa nani? Kore wa nani? All right. Now let's do that all polite. Basically, to make all these polite, we're just going to add what to the question. Do you remember? Something something wa blank desu ka, right? Like a trampoline. Desu ka? So let's look at it. Blank wa doko desu ka? Blank wa doko desu ka? So we learned the word for post office. If you're not keeping up with vocabulary, you can always go back and check again. But the word for post office was yubinkyoku. Yubinkyoku. Where is the post office? Yubinkyoku wa doko desu ka? Doko desu ka? Just like that trampoline. Where is the post office? And hopefully somebody will show you to the nearest post office. If you saw it, it's supposed to be on the map here and you can't find it. Remember to use that polite expression for people you don't know. Okay? Next, who is this? Who is this? Blank wa dare desu ka? Blank wa dare desu ka? So if you're, again, looking at someone's pictures and you're holding, now you're closer to the picture and you're like, oh, you have your whole family here, but who's this young boy here, right? これは誰ですか? これは誰ですか? And hopefully the person will tell you the relation, or they might just say the name. And then lastly, here's a little bit of a difference. Remember, nani is the question word, but when you put it with a polite expression, it's going to become a contraction usually. So blank wa nan desu ka? Blank wa nan desu ka? Now, to be polite at a restaurant, when, for example, someone puts something, when someone puts something on the table in front of you, maybe you didn't order it, but it's just part of the meal, or it's like compliments of the chef, and you want to know, what is this? What is this? So you can hold it in your hand and look at it and say, これは何ですか? これは何ですか? And that raising intonation at the end, again, makes it a question. Okay? So here are our question words so far, right? Doko, where? Dare, who? And nani, what? Alrighty? And last week we covered this just at the end of the lesson, but I want to make sure this phrase kind of sets in, because somebody might ask you this. And first but not last, God, I got daddy brain going on here. First and foremost, the word for the place where you're from in Japanese. The place where you're from is called shushin. Shushin. Okay? And if you want to ask somebody about the place where they're from, it's sort of implied that you're asking them if you look at them. So you don't need to say, hey, Mr. Yamamoto, right? Yamamoto-san, shushin wa doko desu ka? Shushin wa doko desu ka? And remember, by putting doko desu ka, it's just saying it's where, right? So the place where you're from is where, if you put it together and translate it. And notice how you don't have to put you. Japanese usually don't address people by, hey, you, where are you from? Instead, they just say, the place where you're from is where? The place of origin is where? Shushin wa doko desu ka? Okay? And it translates into English as, where are you from? And again, I think you should always use the desu ka with this expression, because usually you already know where someone's from if you're friends or pals with them. So usually this is for, be polite with somebody you just met, or respect. Okay? Alrighty. So, jumping into lesson 4. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Lesson 4 on our intro to Japanese. Today's focus is adjectives. All right? See the girl calling my little baby cute? So the scenario where I thought of this lesson kind of coming in to help you out is, you want to state your opinion about something, like, hey, I think that Japan is cool, or Japan is beautiful, or, I went to Thailand. Thailand is cheap, or, this is delicious, right? This coffee is delicious. This sushi is delicious. Okay? So you want to be able to state your opinion. I think that blank is delicious. I think that blank is cheap. So today we're going to cover some adjectives, and then we're also going to cover an expression, how to agree with somebody. Later on, we'll talk about how to disagree with somebody, but let's not start any bar fights or anything yet. Okay? So the thought here is from kind of a conversation. Oh, sushi is delicious. I love sushi, right? Sushi is delicious. And then you wouldn't want to just leave someone hanging on that if you agree. You'd say, yeah, it is, isn't it? So this lesson will focus on particles, and you're going to see what those are in 1 second if you don't already know, and sentence structure, how to build Japanese sentences. We're always on the quest to learn how the sentence structure in Japanese works, so that when sensei is not here to help, you can just substitute the words out that you need. Okay, so we're going to cover some of that. We're going to learn the basics of Japanese adjectives. Today, just how to say something is, or oishi. How to say something is something, right? Not isn't. And then we're going to be able to state your opinion about the qualities of something. And this will be like a general expression, like, all sushi is good. Cars are expensive. And later on, we'll get more in detail. Okay? So If at any time you have questions, I'm kind of glancing at the other screen here. Feel free to stop me at any time. Alrighty. Now, in Japanese, we usually teach 4 parts of speech for beginners because in Japanese, sentences will always end with one of these parts of speech. So far, we've only been using nouns. Let's talk about the 4 parts of speech here really quick that you need to know in beginning Japanese. So first and foremost is nouns. And a lot of people know nouns. You ever watched Wheel of Fortune? A person, place, or thing. And your English teacher told you it could also be an idea, like honor, courage, things like that. Because that's not a tangible noun, but it's still a noun. Alrighty? So you notice the box there, and I'm going to get back to that in one second, the empty box here on the right side. Okay? Next, we have verbs. We haven't touched verbs yet, and I just don't want to rush into verbs and get all spread out. So we'll get to verbs, I promise. But verbs are the actions in the sentence. Things that move, right? Things you feel. And then there's also verbs for existence. And that's a little bit of a gray area in Japanese. So that's why we're going to hold on to verbs for a minute. Now, adjectives. Adjectives is the focus of today. And adjectives in our English language are things that describe the characteristics of something. Size, shape, right? Quality, quantity, and other things about something. The big car, the little car, the expensive car, the cheap car. 20 cars, right? So different expressions. All right. In Japanese, there's 2 types of adjectives, and one of them is called a na adjective, and the other is called a e adjective. Now, today we're mostly covering e adjectives, but I want you, if you're not studying hiragana, I want you to at least remember these 2 hiragana. Okay, this one here is na, this hiragana, and this one is e. If you remember nothing else about hiragana, at least remember na and e, because these are important for the classes of adjectives. Alrighty. Now, some notational things. Every time I refer to a noun in grammar, I'll just substitute an N, a big N. And for a verb, I'll substitute a big V. Alright? Now, that box I was talking about next to the noun is unique in Japanese with sentences with multiple nouns in them. Each noun needs to have something beside it to tell you what is that noun in the sentence. It's a little bit different than English because in English we might start a sentence with the boy ran fast. The boy ran fast. Or the man is a teacher. The man is a teacher. So we have things like and the. Those are articles. And various other things to explain what is the noun doing in the sentence. In Japanese, instead of having and the, you've noticed so far in our lessons, there's no and the. It's just Scott wa sensei. Scott wa sensei, right? Or watashi wa Amerikajin, or something like that. So to determine what is the noun in the sentence, we need to fill this invisible box here with something called a particle. And that, I'm going to get into it in one second. So for right now, just understand the blank box there next to every noun needs something called a particle. And particles follow more than just nouns in Japanese, but when you're starting off in Japanese, what I want you to think about is that every noun needs to have a particle, and then the rest will do, later on how to make compound sentences and things like that. Okay? So for right now, just think about this. Your sentence isn't complete until all your nouns have particles. And we're going to give some more rules to clarify that in 1 second. Okay? Feel free to ask questions at any time. I think you're going to start to grasp it right away. So here we go. So what are particles? Particles follow nouns. Again, for beginner Japanese, think of this. Particles follow nouns and provide the context for each noun in the sentence. So if I had a sentence with 3 nouns like Scott, wife, fish, okay? What was happening in that sentence? Well, maybe we want to indicate Scott and his wife are the subject of the sentence or the topic of the sentence, and they eat fish or they catch fish. So in Japanese, the particle is actually what determines that. And again, we're going to see as we go. So just hold that in your brain, okay? It's going to be, it's a long road to master particles, but we got to start somewhere, okay? So particles follow the nouns and they explain what the noun does in the sentence. So particles function the way that articles do in English. Remember, an, or the. A boy, an apple, the man, okay? And also things like prepositions, like to the park, in the mall, at the store, okay? And a whole lot more than that. So particles are this big part of Japanese grammar, and you need to understand them, all right? I like to equate it to understanding particles is like eating vegetables at dinner. It's not fun, it's not sexy, but we gotta get these particles down or the meal is not complete, right? We can't just eat meat and ice cream, okay? We need to have some nutrients and some roughage, okay? Now, as a beginner though, I want you to think about it, especially in sentences as you learn more and more nouns. A sentence, each noun without a particle is naked. You're not doing yourself any service by forgetting particles, okay? You're not making a complete sentence without the particles. So every sentence, every noun has a particle, except for the final noun in the sentence. So in our two sentence nouns, I guess you could say, in our two noun sentences, the first noun gets a particle and the last noun doesn't. But if we have four nouns, the first three nouns get a particle and the last one doesn't. So, okay? Now, the particles we've discussed so far are just two, and they're very easy. The first one is wa, and you've seen this time and time again in my example sentences. Okay? Wa comes after the noun that is the topic of the sentence. Wa comes after the noun that is the topic of the sentence. So if I said watashi wa, that wa coming after watashi makes watashi the topic of the sentence. So watashi, what does that mean? Me, myself, I. So I will become the topic of the sentence. So everything after watashi wa is about me. All right? So if it was my son, watashi no musuko wa, everything about the sentence after wa is about my son. Okay? So you're going to see that in 1 second here. And then the other particle we talked about is no. So just there, I gave you another example. Watashi no musuko. Watashi no musuko. Now the way no works is it shows possession, just like the apostrophe S. So the first noun, no, and then the second noun, the first noun possesses the second noun. And we're going to see that in just 1 second. So without further ado, let's look at some examples. Okay? So this is about the topic particle, which we just discussed is wa. The topic particle is wa. So there is the stage, right? And there is the spotlight. And here we have the question mark for who or what. Remember? Who or what? Nani, dare. And we need to make something the topic of the sentence. So we're going to just add wa. So something is the topic. And then we can just put any noun after that. So something is something. Something is something. Remember? A wa bi. A wa bi. Now the way it sometimes helps me to translate this is to think about as the topic of the sentence. As for me, I am something, right? So I am sensei, right? As for me, I am a sensei. Okay, so think about for the wa, who or what is in the spotlight? Who or what is in the spotlight? And now is your first example. So there's me, watashi, right? Watashi. I'm in the spotlight. So this sentence is going to be about me. Watashi wa. Watashi wa. So everything after here, after wa, is going to be about me. Okay, and now what about me? Well, I am the teacher. Watashi wa sensei. Watashi wa sensei. So as for me, I am a teacher. As for me, I am a teacher. So let's simplify this a little bit. In simple terms, you see in the note there, a teacher is something I am. A teacher is something I am. So it's an attribute of me, right? It's an attribute I have, okay? Now, when we translate that into English, wow, that's, Scott, where are you going with all this? Well, check it out. I am a teacher. That's it. I am a teacher. Watashi wa sensei. Okay? But again, think about it as whatever is in the spotlight will get the wa. So what are you talking about? Are you talking about Japan? Are you talking about meat? What are you talking about? That's going to be the spotlight. So that's going to get the wa. Okay? So let's look at a couple more examples here. Here is an example of the possession particle no. What does no do? It makes the next noun after it the possession of the noun before it. Okay, so watashi, right? Watashi is me or I. Watashi no, and that's my baby. So what did we put? Or my son, right? Watashi no musuko. Watashi no musuko. Okay? When we put it together, think about it as this way. Watashi no musuko. It just becomes one noun, right? My son. Watashi no musuko becomes my son. All right? Now that's not a sentence. Remember, watashi wa sensei desu is I am a teacher. But this is just a compounded noun, my son. So what about my son? Well, this isn't a sentence yet. So let's look at how we can make this its own sentence. Okay, so here we have that spotlight again. And now my son is in the spotlight. Okay, watashi no musuko. Watashi no musuko. So how do we make him the spotlight, the topic of the sentence? Well, we need to add the particle wa. Exactly. Watashi no musuko wa. What about him? Watashi no musuko, he's a baby. Do you remember the word for baby we just talked about? Watashi no musuko wa akachan. My son is a baby. That is to say, he's not an adult. He's not a high school student. Watashi no musuko wa akachan. So, again, applying the grammar we just learned. As for my son, he is a baby. As for my son, he is a baby. Okay? And that sounds really ridiculous in English, so we simplify it when we translate and say, my son is a baby. My son is a baby. So in other words, wa as a particle when describing a noun works like is a, or like for example, he is a, she is a, I am a, they are, right? So that's basically how wa works. So wa has to come after a noun that is the topic of the sentence. And then we can apply all sorts of different attributes to it, right? I am a father, I am a teacher, I am a husband, and all those good things. So we have an unlimited amount of ways we can describe me after, but it always has to start with watashi wa, or my son, watashi no musuko wa. Okay? Any questions about it? All right. So the focus of today now is going to take this grammar and apply it to adjectives. So let's talk again one more time about those two types of adjectives. So in English, we just have one. Adjectives are adjectives. Okay? And they describe the characteristics of something. Size, shape, quality, quantity. Do you remember the two types in Japanese? We have na adjectives and e adjectives. And for right now, I just need you to know that those two groups exist. It's hard to understand exactly what that means, but today I'm going to show you how to classify your adjectives, okay? Now, for notational purposes, they'll be written like this. Na with the na hiragana after it, or a capital A with the e hiragana after it. Okay, and today's focus is primarily on e adjectives. adjectives. So really, from right now, I want you to focus on this hiragana, all right? Now, what is an adjective? It's an adjective where the last hiragana is always I when it's in the dictionary. So when you look up an adjective in the dictionary, the last character in that adjective is going to be I. Okay, let's get to some adjectives that we all want to know. And sorry I took so long. I know we have to eat our vegetables, right? So first things first. Here we have some donuts. And man, they're looking delicious. So delicious in Japanese is oishii. Oishii. Okay, at regular speed. Oishii. Oishii. Now, if you want to be emphatic about it and convince somebody, oh my God, these are delicious. Oishii. Oishii. Right? Now, I'm going to give you another delicious right away off the bat. And this works especially for guys because the Japanese language is still pretty gender divided. But guys will usually use this word to express something that's really good, okay? So repeat after me. I'll say it slow then fast. Umai. 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 And if it sounds familiar, that's because it is. Umai is the origin of the word umami. And a lot of people will know that as like the fifth flavor, right? We have sweet, salty, bitter, and what's the other one? Okay, I forgot the fourth one, but the fifth one, umami. Okay, and that's the presence of something that's umai. Okay, so umai actually came from Japanese and then it was brought into English as umami. The quality of having that fifth taste that your tongue can sense. Alrighty? Now, did I say spicy before? Anyway, so spicy is karai. 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 So if you are a spicy food lover like me, you're going to want to remember karai. Karai. And if you're not, oh my gosh, my pictures are backwards. This is what happens when you have a baby and you have to do a class. Okay, so just in your head, switch those pictures. So sweet is amai. Amai. Okay? Amai. Now, as I said in the previous slide, the last character in each one of these adjectives is I. The hiragana I. So when you look them up in the dictionary, this will always be the last hiragana in its dictionary form. And that's important for later when we want to make it the past tense or the negative tense. So just remember, I adjectives end in I. That's why they're called I adjectives. Fair enough? Alrighty. Next, some adjectives about attributes of other things, boats, cars, things like that. Chisai. Chisai means small. Now you will notice here, if you're learning hiragana, chi, I, sa, I, right? And the I sound is doubled, so make the vowel longer. Chisai. Chisai. Don't say chisai. That's wrong. Chisai. The opposite of small, of course, is large. So we have oki. Again, you see the hiragana is doubled here for o. Oki, right? Oki. Now, if you're just learning Romaji and you don't have any time for hiragana, I don't want to hear you pronounce this as uki. All right? Knock it off. In Japanese, o is always o, right? It's always the o. Oki. Alrighty. So let's talk about cheap and then expensive. So cheap, like the crappy car I got for $500 when I first came here. Yasui. Yasui. And yasui means cheap. Okay, one more time. Yasui. Yasui. And the opposite, expensive, takai. Takai. So obviously the car on the right there is a little exotic. That's takai. Okay. A few more adjectives. Now this is one that everybody always mixes up. So I want to say this a few times and be very careful. The word for cute, and not just for babies, but if you want to talk about a girl who's cute or a guy that's cute, I guess, you could say kawaii. Kawaii. Notice that it's K-A-W-A. Kawa. Kawa. Kawaii. Try it real quick. Kawaii. Very important that you get your vowels right, and you're going to see why in a second. Now, that wasn't convincing, was it? If you say something's cute, you got to be really cute about it, right? The baby, kawaii. Kawaii. He's cute. Kawaii. And then next, so cute is usually used for like girls and babies and things that are like fluffy and bunnies and things. The more expressive way to call guys that are, you know, I don't know, think about Brad Pitt and people like that. You would use this other expression, kakkoi, kakkoi. And you wouldn't say kakkoi like that, right? That sounds a little corny. You want to be like kakkoi, kakkoi, right? It's handsome, he's cool. And that also works for that exotic car like before that I showed you. Kakkoi also works for something that looks cool, right? So it's for handsome guys and for, you know, cool cars and things like that. An awesome looking motorcycle. Kakkoi, kakkoi. Next, for you kind-hearted people out there, or if you want to compliment somebody for being so kind, yasashi, yasashi, right? My next door neighbor, she came over and brought a gift today for the baby. She's very yasashi, yasashi. Now here's that one I want you to be careful with, because a lot of people screw this up, especially when they're trying to compliment that girl that they really like or think is cute. Scary is kawaii, kawaii. Notice the difference, ko or ka, right? Kawaii. Now also, see how over here kawaii has a double E sound, and kawaii only has one E sound. So one more time, kawaii, kawaii. Once again, kawaii, kawaii, kawaii. Notice the difference? Don't call the cute girl that you've been seeking after for a while. Don't call her kawaii. All right? She might giggle it off, but you're going to embarrass yourself. And don't call somebody's baby kawaii, please. Kawaii. Alrighty. So let's talk about using E adjectives. It works very similar to how we've used nouns so far. In fact, taking the who or what example from before, who or what, we're just going to add wa once again, and then any E adjective. So any noun, wa, and then any E adjective. And that will attribute that adjective to that noun. It's as simple as that. So let's look again. See how in the blue there, the expression, as for blank, it, he, she is blank. So it works exactly the same way as our noun wa, noun. Exactly the same way. Let's try one, okay? Here we have some chicken wings. Do you remember how to say chicken in Japanese? We got two ways. You could have said toriniku or regular old chicken. Chicken. Okay? Chicken. I chose chicken. So what about chicken? Well, let's talk about just generally speaking, right? When we use the word chicken and then we put the particle wa, we're just saying in general. In general, chicken is, right? In general, chicken is. What is it? Let's try one of the adjectives we literally just talked about. Oishii. Chicken wa oishii. You've got to be convincing too. Don't be coming at me with chicken wa oishii. No. Chicken wa oishii. I love chicken, right? I love fried chicken wings with the cheese dip, the Korean style. It's great. Chicken wa oishii. Alrighty? Now, again, if we apply the wa particle, as for chicken, right, in general, as for chicken, it is delicious. As for chicken, it's delicious. In simple terms, right, chicken, delicious is something that chicken is. Think about it in simple terms, okay? But, of course, we want to translate that naturally into English. So, chicken is delicious. Do you see how, wrapping this whole thing up together, the wa particle, as for something, it is something, okay? But in direct translation, chicken is delicious. Easy day. Okay? How about this? What do we have here on the left side? We have a baby, right? We have a baby. Baby is akachan. And let's talk about things that babies are, right? As for babies, right? So akachan, what particle are we going to use? Wa. Akachan wa. What are things that babies are? Are they scary? Don't say kawaii. You'd be penalized by me, the sensei. Akachan wa kawaii. Akachan wa kawaii, right? Babies are cute. So as for babies, they are cute, right? Again, cute is something babies are. So something wa, anything that comes after that wa, just think it. That's a characteristic of the noun. As for babies, they are cute, right? Babies are cute. Okay? But now we have my baby, right? We have my baby. How do you say my baby? Do you remember? How do you say my baby? We have to use another particle, which is no. Watashi no, sorry. It's a son, my son. Watashi no musuko. Watashi no musuko. What about my son? Watashi no musuko. Watashi no musuko wa. And this is where I meant to say baby, okay? Watashi no, my son is a baby. Watashi no musuko wa. I'm so sleep deprived. I apologize. My son is cute. My son is cute. Watashi no musuko wa kawaii. Watashi no musuko wa kawaii. All right. As for my son, he is cute. Or simply translated, my son is cute. Now that's just, my biased personal opinion, but I hope you think so too. But even if you don't, I don't care. Alrighty. So, now somebody around you, you're out to dinner, you're talking to your friends, and they're just going to generalize about something, and you want to agree with them, right? You want to agree with them. So let's talk about that. So on the left side, we see something, right? We see some raw fish atop some rice. That is called sushi, right? In Japanese, sushi, we want to say sushi is delicious. Sushi wa oishii. Sushi wa oishii. Okay? Great. I say that all the time. But what if you're sitting next to me and you're like, No, you want to agree with me in Japanese, of course. So, let's try this. Oishii ne. Oishii ne. Okay? Now, what did I do? All I did was I reflected the adjective back at you. Delicious. And then I added something called ne, right? I added ne. And in Japanese, ne is like, it is, isn't it, right? So, oishii ne is like, delicious, right? Or delicious, isn't it? Okay? So, I'm going to practice. I'm going to say, hey, this is delicious. And then you're going to agree, right? Sushi wa oishii. Okay? You should have said, oishii ne. Oishii ne. And you got to raise your intonation at the end there. Oishii ne. Ne. And that's how you agree with somebody. Okay? In a casual way. Another thing you can say is, soda ne. Soda ne. And that's just like saying, that's right, isn't it? Or it is, isn't it? Okay? So another way to agree with somebody is just say, soda ne. Soda ne. So this time I'm going to say sushi is delicious, and you're just going to agree with me as it is, isn't it? Sushi wa oishii. Soda ne. Soda ne. All right. Now let's talk about the polite version, because you're not always going to be sitting next to a friend. You might be conversing with somebody you haven't really met before. So, very easy. Just like with noun sentences, we just add a des. Okay. Now this time we have sashimi. Okay, what's the difference? No rice. Sushi on the rice or wrapped up, and then sashimi is just the cut of fish. No rice. Sashimi wa oishii desu. Sashimi wa oishii desu. And that just makes it polite, adding the des. So there's also a polite way to agree. And again, just reflect the adjective back. Oishii desu ne. Oishii desu ne. Oishii desu ne. And that's just saying, it is delicious, isn't it? Okay, so if it was spicy, you got surprised and it was spicy. Karai. Kore wa karai desu. And the answer would be karai desu ne. It is spicy, isn't it? Okay, could you come up with sweet on your own? If I said it's sweet, oh, this is really sweet, like a strawberry milkshake. Amai desu. Kore wa amai desu. And then you want to agree with me? Amai desu ne. Amai desu ne. Okay, and then the general more it is, isn't it? Polite. Instead of so da ne, easy. So desu ne. So desu ne. Cool? So one more time. If I sat down next to you and I'm just like really amped about sashimi and I order a whole plate full and then I'm like, man, I love sashimi. It's delicious. And you're like, it is, isn't it? Right? Sashimi wa oishii desu. Sashimi wa oishii desu. And you're like, so desu ne, right? So desu ne. Okay, so let's quickly review the pronouns, and then I'm going to show you a couple new pronouns today, and we'll put those to practice, and then we'll be done. So let's give it a shot here. Do you remember the koso ado rule? How do you say this, that over there, and which? Do you remember? Kore, close to me, close to the speaker. Sore, close to you or close to the listener. Okay. Are, close to neither of us. And the question always starts with do, so dore. Kore sore, are dore. Right? Ko so a do. And remember, the last part of each pronoun is always the same in each group. And you're going to see that again today, right? These ones all had re. Kore sore, are dore. Let's look at another set of pronouns. Now this one works a little bit differently, and you're going to see in just 1 second exactly what I mean, okay? So this one is going to be saying this chicken, this boat, this car, right? So before we said this is big, this is small, this is cute, right? But what if we wanted to say this chicken is delicious? Not that chicken, not all chicken, right? This chicken is delicious, or that beer is delicious, right? Oh, I see you drinking Guinness. I love me some Guinness. That beer is delicious, right? Which beer is delicious? So this pronoun structure, you see that there's a blank already. This blank, we need to put something after it. So this is a special kind of pronoun, but let's go over it real quick, okay? So it's kono. So this blank, right? This blank is sono, that. Remember the koso ado pattern, right? So automatically means it's closer to you, the listener, or closer to the listener, right? Now, what if it's close to neither? Hopefully you're already seeing the pattern. That one over there is ano, right? Hopefully you already saw that, ano. And then the question word is dono. Now, today I'm mostly going to just focus on kono and we'll be done with it. But I just want you to know there's this other set of pronouns, and this set of pronouns requires something to come after it. So you can't just say kono oishii or kono wa oishii. No, that doesn't work. You have to say kono something wa oishii. So if this sushi is delicious, right? Kono sushi wa oishii, right? It can't be kono wa oishii. That doesn't work. If you want to do that, you have to say kore wa oishii, okay? So again, a blank after sono. Sono biru, right? Beer. Sono biru wa oishii. That beer, the one you got, is delicious. And then ano, right? Ano, it's close to neither of us, okay? That car over there is expensive. Do you remember expensive? Takai. And we didn't cover car yet, did we? Ano kuruma. Kuruma is car. Ano kuruma wa takai. And then dono. And again, I don't want to really focus on that. So again, just look. These each have a blank after it. So these pronouns need to have something to follow them. And you're going to see that in just 1 second, okay? So kono, sono, ano, and dono. And again, ko, so, a, do on the left side. And they all have no on the right side because they're all in the same family. Okay? Easy day. So let's try this Here's just to refresh the rule before we jump into an example. Any pronoun that starts with ko, close to speaker, so, close to the listener, a, close to neither of us, and do is the question word. Alrighty? So, let's talk about this here. We're going to have a mini casual conversation. Okay? There's something in front of me. This might have happened to you. You're sitting at a restaurant and somebody put something on a plate in front of you. Maybe your friend ordered you something at the restaurant or you're at their house and they just said, here you go, boom. And you're like, oh my God, what is this? Can I even eat it? Okay? So we already know how to say this. What is this? This is from week 2, I think. What is this? これは何? Right? これは何? What is this? What is this? And this is a casual conversation, so your friend, okay, now they're saying about something that's closer to you. Well, that is sashimi, the thing in front of you. それは sashimi. That in front of you is sashimi. And you said, well, you tried it, right? And oh my God, it's delicious. Now this is where the kono pronoun comes into play, right? Remember I said something has to come after kono. So you can't just say kono wa oishii. No. Kono sashimi wa oishii. This sashimi in front of me, the one right here close to me, kono sashimi wa oishii. And your friend wants to agree with you. Oishii ne. Oishii ne. So let's back out that conversation one more time. Okay. You try to play the listener. You try to play the friend. So I'm asking, what is this? And you're going to say, that is sashimi. The thing close to you is sashimi. And I'm going to say, it's delicious. And you're going to say, it is delicious, isn't it, right? これは何? Okay, you said, それは sashimi. Okay? それは sashimi. And I put that in parentheses. You could just say, sashimi. Okay? Now, remember what you're going to say. You're going to agree with me. I'm saying it's delicious. この刺身はおいしい. And you said, おいしいね. おいしいね. Exactly. Any questions? Okay. Still haven't seen any questions yet. So let's look at the polite one. The polite version of this, again, maybe you just sat down at a sushi bar or a ramen shop and you're sitting in front of the owner and there's nobody sitting to your left and your right and he just throws something out on the plate or she throws you something in a bowl and you're like, hey, what is this? But you want to be polite now. You don't want to just be like, これは何? Right? That's what you say to your friends. So this is to the owner or the employees at the restaurant. What is this? What is this? Okay? これは何ですか? これは何ですか? Now at a sushi restaurant, okay, obviously it's sushi, but you might by saying that ask what type of fish it is. And if you're a fish lover like me, you're going to wait for the sushi chef to tell you what it is, okay? But let's just be generic for a second. The sushi chef is going to tell you, well, that's sushi. それは sushi です. それは sushi です. Right? It's closer to you, and I am the speaker. So, それは sushi です. Now, you want to say, this sushi is delicious. Not this is delicious. Remember, this is delicious would just be これはおいしいです. How would you say, this sushi is delicious? We need that new pronoun we just learned. この寿司はおいしいです. Remember, この sushi means this sushi, the one here in front of me. The one here in front of me. この寿司はおいしいです. Now, the listener, hey, they work at the restaurant, they put it in front of you, they agree with you automatically. How would they say, it is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? そうですね. そうですね. All right. Now, そうですね, I hear it all the time, and you probably already heard it before, even before this class. And it's just the general way to agree with somebody. Wow, it's really great weather today. そうですね. Oh man, I love this song. そうですね. You can use そうですね just about anywhere to agree with somebody, okay? So in the previous one, remember, we had oishii ne. You just reflect the adjective back to somebody. Or to just agree generically, you use the so desu ne. But what if I want to say it is delicious, isn't it? Then I could say oishii desu ne. Oishii desu ne. All right? So, I know today my class is a little bit rushed and disorganized, and I apologize. You know, I definitely got daddy brain syndrome going on, up all night, and maybe my thoughts aren't as collected as normal. But anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of lesson 4. So a couple of things I wanted to point out, as always, coming up in a few days here, I will have the quiz for this lesson ready. And then I'll also send out the slides to anybody on my email list. So if you're not on that, you can look me up at White Rice Sensei on Facebook and shoot me a message. But anyway, so the quiz will be available soon. And as always, it'll be in the description of this video as I update it. I'll also trim out some of the jibber jabber from the beginning. Okay. And then next, at the end of April, beginning of May, is Japanese Golden Week. And what that means is, especially after this coronavirus time, that a lot of people are going to be traveling. And for you, if you're unvaccinated, just keep in mind, like, there may be people from big cities coming to spend time here in Sasebo or where you are in Okinawa or Yokosuka, other parts of Japan. So there may be an influx of visitors. So you might want to keep your distance from people because there has been a kind of a new wave of corona going around. But on the flip side, Golden Week is pretty cool. It's a lot of holidays strung together, and it's one of the busiest travel times of the year for Japanese people. So I wanted to push this video I made several years back when I lived in Tokyo, and you could hang out with people without putting a mask on and all that good stuff. So if you're interested, look up this video, Yoyogi Park. Let's celebrate Japan's Golden Week. And you can watch people kind of fumble through what is Golden Week and make your own conclusions about it. I love Golden Week just because it's just Japan's fun life, you know, spirit is in the air, and everywhere you go, people are out to enjoy stuff. So hopefully you can enjoy sort of remote places, and always remember this one thing, okay? The last couple days of the Golden Week holiday, the vehicle traffic is going to be crazy, and probably this year more than any year, because there's less travel restrictions and a lot less people are taking airplanes and trains. So there's going to be a lot of vehicle traffic in the first and second week of May. So if you're planning on a road trip and it's during the day, hey, you've been warned. The roads are going to be crazy during daylight hours, and you may want to drive in the middle of the night or reconsider when you're going to do your trip if you can be flexible, because it will be crazy out there.